Okay, I see the time is 6:30, so we will get started. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending this Street Life Committee meeting for the month of April of Community Board 8. My name is Abraham Salcido, and I chair this committee. A bit of the rules for the meeting today. I will go down the agenda list and invite each applicant and or their representative to state their name and to give us a brief overview of their application. This should include hours of operation, food and drink ratio, whether the venue and establishment is ADA accessible, whether there are any 311 or noise violations. That will help with our committee members making a decision for the application. Then I will go to our public members or to members of the public and inquire if there's any member of the public that would like to comment or have questions for the particular application. And then lastly, I will go to my fellow committee members for any questions, comments, or motions. As a reminder, any action motion taken by the committee here will be sent to the full board for a vote. And that will be at the full board meeting on Wednesday, April 19th. And then secondly, with regards to just a quorum, just a reminder, everyone here is welcome and encouraged to share their opinion, but I ask that everyone be respectful and comport themselves with decorum and be respectful of everyone else's opinion. Please direct all questions or comments to myself, the chair, not to any other participant in the chat or the applicant. And with that, I will hand over to Robert for the technical rules of the road.
Thank you, Abraham. Welcome. If this is your first time joining us, everyone will remain muted throughout the meeting except the committee chair, Abraham, and the presenters. Following the presentation, Abraham will call members of the public wishing to speak. You can participate by going to the reactions icon and pressing raise hand, not the wave or the thumbs up. Only press it once. If you press it a second time, your hand will go back down. If you're on the phone, it is *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. Please be on the lookout for a prompt asking you to confirm unmuting once the chair calls on you. The chat is for technical support only to help with Zoom software problems, not to ask questions of the chair. The chair will not see these chats. If you have an older version of Zoom, you will need to go to the participants section where you will find the raise hand feature there. Please do not raise your actual hand or wave at the screen because we may not be able to see you. Chat me, I'm here for support. Abraham, back to you.
Thank you, Robert. Okay, then lastly, before I get started, just to confirm I have the correct number of committee members on my list. I have myself, Bill, Casey, Marco, and Mrs. Brown. I believe that is the list for now.
That's what I have as well, Abraham.
Okay. Great. Wonderful. And with that, I will get started and I will go to item 1A. So if there's an applicant or representative for item 1A, 1022 Restaurant Inc., new application for liquor, wine, and beer. Please let us know you're here. Oh, yes, I see it's Kathleen.
Give me 1 second. Sending Kathleen a prompt to unmute. Go ahead, Kathleen, and confirm unmuting.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
It's the hardest part, just trying to figure out how to get on. The rest is easy. Okay, so this is going to be a new Italian restaurant that's coming at this location. The owners of the restaurant, Nick Bishalis and Nick Soulis, are very familiar with the restaurant business. They have restaurants such as Avra, Anassa Taverna, Patsy's Pizza. So they've been in the restaurant business for quite a number of years. The restaurant itself is not going to be ready, I'll tell you, till probably about 6 months from now. They're doing major renovation there. But what we are going to have is 54 seats at tables, 12 stools at a bar. It's actually going to be 2 floors. There's a mezzanine and a ground floor. It's an Italian restaurant. I don't know if I said that. There will be some outside seating, sidewalk cafe seating, assuming that there's some application in place when this comes up. I don't know, there's not right now. It's 80/20 for alcohol, food to alcohol. I don't know what else to tell you, but the hours are 11 to 11 p.m. Except Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, they'll go to midnight.
Great. Yes, the 80/20 food ratio, ADA compliant, I assume, or will
Yes,
be?
it will be ADA compliant. Maybe not right now, but it will be.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay, so with that, I will inquire whether there are any members of the public that would like to speak to this application. Seeing none, then I will go to Mrs. Brown, my fellow committee member.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. I would move to approve the application with the stipulation that it must be ADA compliant before opening.
Okay. I would second that. Kathleen, I'm assuming there's no issue with that.
There's no issue with that.
Yeah, great. Wonderful. Then Bill?
Agreement.
Okay, great.
A second motion. Yeah.
Okay, would you like to call a question then?
Yes, we call the
Great.
question.
Wonderful, thank you. Marco?
Yes, before to call the question, I would like to say something.
Okay.
Mrs. Brown she's concerned with the ADA compliance.
Mhm.
We don't have the tools to see actually the applicant compliant or not. What we had to do is we have to request the applicant file in the Department of Buildings. The Department of Buildings are the expert in all of the rules, regulations, included the ADA compliance. So I think it's better to always use, say and recommend or see if the applicant is in agreement that the application must be filed in the Department of Buildings. They are the expert. They will check very careful. And if they don't do their job, so we can go against the Department of Buildings. But meanwhile, the only institution that have the power to control, supervise, analyze everything is the Department of Buildings. So any alteration we have to request, or we have to ask as a stipulation that the applicant must file in the Department of Buildings. With that comment, I'm going to finish. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kathleen, is there any issue with that?
Now, so let me just, I don't know if you noticed, if you saw the pictures I sent you, but it's a total gut renovation. There's no bathrooms there, there's nothing. So
Yeah.
everything, so it has been filed with the Department of Buildings for sure. And
Great.
because they are replacing the bathrooms and everything is gutted out, they must follow the DOB regulations as to ADA compliance. So I have, normally I would be making an issue here, but I have no issue whatsoever because there's no way they're opening without filing.
Right.
the ADA.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
great. I think
Great.
it's great. She's in agreement, and all the applicant, we had to request that parts. And then it will be up to DOV if they fail to do their job. Thank you.
Great.
And I would like to call the question if I can.
Great. Mrs. Brown, did you have a follow-up there?
Yes, thank you. It was a little unclear what Marco had stated. It came in, the audio came in somewhat garbled. Would you be kind enough
Sure.
to repeat it?
Yes, absolutely.
So I know in the future how to make my motion? Thank you, Marco.
Yes, Marco was clarifying that the only way to really enforce or to know for sure whether or not an establishment is going to be ADA compliant and follows with that is through the DOB and request that they file any alterations with the DOB so that it will be the DOB that will make the determination of whether it is compliant or not, and we can rely on that.
Thank you.
One more thing I think we had to clarify right here. I think our obligation as a fellow community members, we had to start looking for the revenues of the city. That's one of our roles. And if they file the application in the Department of Buildings, DOB, they'll collect their fees. And we are doing our job, not only in 88 and all rules and regulations, but also we have to increase the revenues for the city. And thank you so much for doing that.
Okay, I see we have a couple more hands up. I know we've called a question, but I will entertain them. Cause, you joined us?
Yes, sorry, I joined late. Is there any sidewalk structure sidewalk structure there now?
No, of course, there's nothing there now. It's just, in fact, now there's just green boards up on it. Nothing there now. Totally.
Will they be building sidewalk structures on the sidewalk?
Not so much sidewalk structures. They are going to have a sidewalk cafe on the sidewalk. When you say sidewalk structures, there'll be stanchions.
No, my point is I'm walking around the neighborhood and all I keep seeing is new sidewalk structures, permanent structures going up on the sidewalk. I mean, these are illegal. So, I mean, DOB is not doing its job for sure. But I mean, there's more and more. So I just want to start putting on record that these establishments will not be putting up permanent structures on the sidewalk.
I can say they will not be doing that.
Thanks.
Yeah, great.
Call the question.
Thank you, Cause. Tanya, I see you have your hand up. Assuming you're a member of the public, I will entertain your question if it's for this application before we go to the vote.
Abraham, I've sent a prompt to unmute.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that. Rookie
Hi.
move. Hi, yes, my name is Tanya Warren. I live on East 73rd, just a house down from where the new restaurant or the building is that's now under construction. I just have some concerns over the midnight, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday midnight ending of service because of the obviously noise concerns. What kind of restaurant will it be? Can you give us some more indication? Will it be I'm assuming it will be an upscale seated restaurant, not a sort of not like a bar heavy scene, right? Because that obviously disrupts.
No, yes, so the ground floor is going to have a bar with some stools, but there'll also be tables, and then upstairs will be strictly tables. It will be a tablecloth restaurant, and it's Italian. I can tell you that. I don't know exactly. I didn't have a menu to give you because they haven't really developed a menu yet. But it will be an upscale restaurant. I mean, it's not going to be upscale scale. I mean, it will be something reasonable in price, but it's not going to be a bar or a tavern.
Okay, great. And what assurances can you give us though that there won't be noise issues, especially on the weekends? A noisy midnight Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is just not going to fly for the neighbors.
Well, the only thing I can tell you is that it's only background music. Okay, so it's not any type of live music or bands or anything of that nature. I can tell you that they will be putting soundproofing in because they are doing a gut renovation. So soundproofing will be going in. And the other thing I can tell you is just based on the experience of these two gentlemen. I mean, if you know the restaurant Avra, there's two of them. If you know Anassa Taverna, these are not restaurants that are loud. They've been around for years.
Right.
Many other restaurants as well. I can't name them all, but they're seasoned restaurant people that are not there to annoy the public, but just to really add to the community. That's all.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And also, we also ask every establishment to make sure they have any doors and windows closed by 10 p.m. So that's kind of standard operating procedure as well.
Right.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, Mrs. Brown.
Yes, thank you. Is it possible for Kathleen to provide Ms. Warren with a phone number of the manager or owner? So in the event there's a concern, she has direct contact, so it could be resolved?
I would feel more comfortable providing her with my phone number. Would that be okay?
Is that okay with Ms. Warren?
Taking a
Yes, thank you for unmuting me. Yeah, sure, that would be fine.
I've represented them for years. So I mean, if you wanted to give me a call, they listen to me.
Great. Do you want to send it to me in the chat, chat meeting?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Okay, so with that, we will go to the roll. If anyone's opposed to calling a question, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to go to the vote. So there's a motion to approve. Anyone that's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please give me a sign. Quickly, I do notice I have some new joiners. So I want to query whether Judy, Evan, and Addison, whether you will be participating in this vote. You can give me a thumbs up if you will be participating in the vote. Evan, yes. Judy, Addison, no. Judy, is that a question or?
No, I didn't hear the whole presentation. I got on. I had problem getting on. So could
Okay.
you just count me as not being here for this item?
Yep, I will skip you on
Thank you.
this one, and then Evan, you're in. Okay, great. So with that, I have all my participants. So, okay, so there's a motion to approve. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, give me an indicator. Otherwise, you will go as a yes vote. Great. So that goes as an approval. So thank you, Kathleen. Appreciate your presentation.
Thank you, guys. Have a great evening.
Thank you, likewise. Okay, moving on to item 1B. Do I have the representative for BMD Group, 1582 York Avenue?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Madalena.
Hi.
Tell us your name, affiliation, and your summary of the application.
Sure. My name is Madalena Averoni. I am one of the partners for BMD Group. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to address the board this evening. We look forward to being part of the community and being responsible neighbors. This is our first restaurant. This is a partnership between me and my brother, who is the chef. He's here tonight, and he's happy to introduce himself also in a bit. Our love of food started with our mom. We grew up in Romania and we moved here early on. And then it only solidified with my brother graduating from the French Culinary Institute in New York City. Our concept is a small upscale restaurant. It will have 42 seats indoors, about 8 seats at the bar, 10 to 12 seats in the, there's a patio, a small patio on the outside. The food is of European influence. It will cater to 30-year-olds and above due to the price point of the menu. Prices range from 12 to 18 for appetizers, 20 to 40 for entrees, with a great selection of wines ranging from $14 to $20 a glass. It is not a bar. It is not a nightclub. We will open for lunch and dinner daily. The hours are 11 a.m. to midnight daily. We may be closed one day a week. We will stop closing an hour earlier on the patio, being mindful of the noise. We will mostly be reservations only, so we don't expect any congregation outside. The doors and windows will be closed to create a nice atmosphere. We will rotate the menu periodically to keep people coming, and we'll have a manager on the premises at all times. We're really trying to create an intimate and fine dining atmosphere, yet relaxed and inviting. It's not a gut renovation, so it won't be ADA accessible. The food and alcohol ratio is 65-35. I'm not aware of any violations previously there. And there will be no live music, only background music.
Great. Thank you very much.
My brother's here. He can introduce himself also, if that's okay.
Sure.
Or
yeah, absolutely.
Is your brother on? Do you know what name your brother's logged in
yes,
under?
Bogdan Dinu.
Okay.
Give me one moment.
Hello, everyone. My
Hi.
name is Bogdan Dino. I'm a partner and the chef, as my sister mentioned. I'm a graduate of the French Culinary Institute and have been working in restaurants, high-end catering companies, and as a private chef in New York for the last 18 years. I worked for San Ambrose for many years, and now I work in the executive dining for JP Morgan. But I'm really looking forward to our restaurant and create the perfect upscale ambience. And the menu will be seasonal. It will be rotating every couple of months and mostly Mediterranean influence. Thank you for your time, and we're glad to take any questions if you have any.
Thank you very much. So first, I will see if there's any member of the public that has any questions or comments on this application. Seeing none, I will first go to Mrs. Brown.
I'm sorry. My hearing, I'm getting older, so you have to bear with me. Did I understand the applicant to say that they're not ADA compliant, or they're not going to be ADA compliant? And if so, I want to know why not. If you're doing any form of renovation, is it not required that you become ADA compliant? So, Chair, if you have that answer, I'd appreciate it. If Marco has that answer, I would appreciate clarification because I'm confused at this point. Did I mishear her state?
I will let Madalena answer first.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. The only renovations being done to the space are cosmetic. It's in an older building, and it doesn't have a ramp. It's just not accessible. And to my knowledge, it doesn't have to be, since we're not really doing any structural or gut renovation.
Okay.
When you say the renovations are cosmetic, could you be more specific?
Sure. I mean, it's literally painting and installing an HVAC system and redoing the tiles in the bathroom, and that's pretty much it. So there's no walls being torn down. There's no breaking anything. The space is as it is, and we're just doing some light cosmetic renovations to it.
Is there any reason why you will not bear the extra expense to have at least a ramp or make it ADA compliant so that people with disabilities can enjoy your restaurant?
Again, it's a small, older building with a very narrow sidewalk, and it's really just not conducive at the time.
Well, based on your comments, I cannot support this application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see Cause has his hand up next.
Yeah, did I hear something about a patio?
You did. Madalena, can you elaborate more on the patio? Is that a rear yard, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's a small rear yard. The space that we're in used to be a restaurant before.
Right.
It can roughly fit 10 to 12 tables, 10 to 12 people, I would say. Not even that many tables. It's in the back of the restaurant.
So there's nothing on the sidewalk, and you will not be building any permanent structure on the sidewalk. Is that a guarantee?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. And just to follow up on that point on the rear yard, you had mentioned, I think if I heard you correctly, you were going to look to close that an hour earlier. Typically, we ask that any rear interior yards be closed by 10 o'clock. Is that something that's agreeable to you?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Next, I see Marco.
Thank you. let's go start with the counting of the people. How many you said is in I don't know, you want to give me total or you want to give you different numbers for different places? Can I ask this question or not?
Yes, Madeline, I
Okay.
think he's asking you for I think the capacity and the number of people that will be, that fit in the establishment.
Yeah, so the bar area can seat about eight people, and then we'll plan on having 42 additional seats.
And in the rear yard?
10 to 12.
So you know that the certificate of occupancy you have is 40 people total. And you know that also that you say cosmetic, when you change the tiles, you are obligated immediately to become that place, specifically the bathroom, handicap accessible. You touch the tiles, and that's the rule. You touch something, now you gotta be in compliance. And you are not in compliance with the certificate of occupancy. They say 40 people, and the certificate of occupancy doesn't allow you to use the rear yard either. That's a legal issue, by the way.
May I answer that?
Yes.
Okay, so the certificate of occupancy, the last one that I saw, and I'm assuming is the same one that you're looking at, dates from back to 1999.
Yes.
Right, so we'll obviously have to get a new certificate of occupancy. My guess is the reason why is that way, I don't know if you're familiar with the space, but it's the bottom retail floor of a building, but it's a twin space. It's like a left and right in the building. So you kind of go through one side and then they connect in the middle and then they go on the other side. My guess is that the certificate of occupancy is only for half of the space. The space is roughly 1,400 square feet. So to have a 40 number occupancy, it's obviously not really reasonable. So we'll go through that as we approach the build out. In terms of the tile, we may not touch the tile. It's just it's cosmetic, so we may work with a wall and just paint the walls. But really, that's what's been included in the project and our budget.
My concern is in the way that you try to present the application. I think is just only to try to organize your idea, but that's not the way. What is the law? The law is you have the CO and cover the entire building, and therefore 40 people is for the entire first floor. It's not half of the one side, half to the other side. No, it's just only for the entire building. So in this case, it's 40. That's what it said. The certificate of occupancy, January 5th, 1999. That's the CO, and the CO doesn't say either that you are legally to use the rear yard. And let me explain you a little bit the rear yard. When you going beyond some numbers that the CO recommend, the issue is next. The people can be in the back and if there is fire in the front, they can be trapped and the people may die. That's the reason why it's very important, the CO. And yes, I'm going to recommend you also that you can increase, for instance, the number of people for the place. You can file a letter on objection in DOB, which will be cheaper, faster, and it's more likely DOB will be approved at 75 people. But you cannot use. They're not gonna give you the rear yard. So the 40 people, you can increase to 70 if you file a letter on objection DOB. It's very cheap to do that. It will take some time, but the rear yard, never DOB will be approved. I'm trying to help you as much as I can.
Appreciate that, and we will obviously not open an illegal establishment. The place before us was a restaurant using the backyard, so I'm not really sure what happened there, but I can promise you they will not operate an illegal operation. So yes, we will get an updated COI, and we will get an authorization to use the backyard.
Well, let me tell you one thing. If you want to use the rear yard, I will oppose because it's unlawful. If you want to increase more than 40, I know that you can obtain filing a letter of no objection. DOB, they granted probably 75 people. That will be okay. But the rear yard, they're never going to approve that. So therefore, if you are persistent to recommend the approval of the rear yard, I will oppose this application. It's your choice. Thank you.
Okay, so I think the workaround here is Madalena, obviously, if you're going to apply to get the updated C of O to increase the capacity, that'd be great. And then you can forward that on to us. You're welcome to investigate and see whether or not you are able to get the rear yard. It sounds from Marco's experience that will not be the case. But again, if you are able to do so, best of luck. And then you can just forward on to us the updated C of O once you have that, so we have that for our updated records.
Sure.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, Judy.
Yes, I have a suggestion. Are you working with an architect or an expediter?
Madalena, that's for you, whether you're working with an expediter or another expert in the filings.
I believe our contractors are, so not directly through our contractors.
Well, my suggestion is that you put this off until next month and get an expediter or an architect to go to the building department and get it filed. So therefore, we don't have to deny you. Is that something you'll consider?
We are going through the renovations, and we will obviously not open without that. So I'm happy to forward you the updated COI. Going to the next meeting would mean delaying everything by 1 month. So if we could do it where I just share the updated, I am happy to do that, and I would appreciate it.
And would the updated include the rear yard?
So yes,
That's what we're going for.
Right.
Well,
so I think that
we vote on this next week, I believe. Will you have this information by then?
I'm sorry. I can start the process immediately. I just don't know how long it will take to have a revised COI. I can keep you updated, but
I think I'm wrong. It's not next week. It's the week after. It's the 19th that we vote on this.
So I think maybe the workaround is we have assuming it were to be an approval, it would be conditioned on a valid C of O with the increased capacity, if that is what it's going to be, and the stipulation that they would only use the rear yard if they're able to obtain the DOB approval for it.
That sounds good to me, Abraham. I have one other question.
Okay.
Did I miss it? Do you have a name for the restaurant?
you did not miss it. It's going to be Gazette.
I'm sorry, could
Gazette.
pronounce it again?
Gazette.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Okay, next I have Addison.
Yeah, I don't know how to.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, so I was going to make a resolution basically in the form that you sort of laid out, Abraham, where
Yep.
we stipulate the approval on the condition of the that we follow basically the results of the certificate of occupancy agreement, and that we'll use the rear yard if it is allowed, of course.
That sounds right. And with the 10 p.m. and then the no sidewalk structure.
Exactly.
Okay, good. I would, Madalena, that's all. We're just summarizing what we've discussed. Does that all sound correct to you or agreeable to you?
Sorry, did you hear me?
No, I did. I think you might have cut out a little bit.
Oh, yes, I said yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, great. So, okay, so just to recap, Alice Addison is making a motion to approve with the stipulations of the no sidewalk structure, rear yard by 10 p.m., assuming the rear yard is allowable at all, because the applicant will have to confirm and show to us that they will only use the rear yard if it is approved by DOB. If it is not approved by DOB and they cannot demonstrate it, then they will not use the rear yard, and that they will have the updated C of O for the increased capacity. Okay, is there a second for that? Okay, I see a thumbs up from Cause. Okay, I will go to Mrs. Brown next, and then, oh, sorry, Mark. No, Mrs. Brown next. Yes.
Yes, there's no mention about the so-called cosmetic work and that she's not going to touch the tiles. So I think that needs to be included in there, because if there's any tile work, then it needs to be ADA compliant. So that needs to be stipulated, please. Thank you.
How about I say that if the renovations are such that they require ADA compliance, then they will comply, something to that effect. Does that make sense? So that we're not limiting to the tiles. If they do anything more that would require them to then trigger the compliance, that they will do so.
Including the tiles.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, I want the tile work renovation included in that stipulation.
Yes,
So-
I was just trying to make it broader so it's not limited only to the tiles.
Alright.
So, okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Great. Okay. Then Marco's, your hand still up? Yeah, great. Okay.
Thank you. It's just only I'm going to clarify. The issue is we can approve without no problems the use of the interior space, because you're going to file, you have to clarify no amendment to the CO, because that will take 2 or 3 years. You have to put it is they're going to compromise to file a letter of no objection. By the way, you can go to the DOB web, and you yourself as the owner or the tenant can file that application. It's a very simple process, and then it will take probably 3, 4, 5 weeks to obtain the approval. But I think it's more likely they will approve, and I do not have a problem to support that part. The part that I'm concerned is the rear yard. They cannot go for letter of no objection. So therefore, you have to go for a new CO, and to obtain a new CO, it will take 2 or 3 or 4 years. So my advice is just use your interior space, file a letter of no objection. It's very cheap and very simple to file, by the way. And then you can obtain everything, and then I do not have a problem to support your application.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, does anyone want to call the question? Okay.
Can I call the question?
Yes, you may, Marco. Call the question. Okay. Does anyone oppose calling the question? Okay, seeing no hands there, then this is going to be a motion to approve with the stipulations that we've discussed and clarified a couple times by Addison, myself, and Marco. So if anyone is voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please give me an indicator. Again, this is a motion to approve with the stipulations. So no, not voting for cause or abstaining indicator. Okay, seeing none. So then with those conditions, Madalena, this is go as an approval recommendation to the full board in 2 weeks. And we wish you good luck on opening, and we look forward to welcoming you to the neighborhood. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, great. I'm now up to item 1C. This is Chef Adriano. So I have the representative for Chef Adriano.
Hello to everybody. Thank you for having me.
Hi, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you for your time. I would like to present myself. So my name is Adrian, and a month, almost 2 weeks ago, I found this space. It was funny because my customer actually found this space. I used to work in that area like 5 years ago. My project will be a coffee shop, actually. We'll be open like 7:30 in the morning till 6 in the beginning, and then we'll like to extend till 10:30 in afternoon. We would like to apply only for the wine and beer because our plan is not to don't attract the people to stay there to have cocktails or whatever it can be. We will have a simple menu which we'll have some pasta, some homemade focaccia, really easy things. We'll have 5 tables, and we'll have a bench with 6 stalls, and we'll be around 18 seats or 19 seats, let's say. Right now, we're painting and we're changing some light, and hopefully we'll open the next week or the week after. And that one will be pretty much.
Great, thank you very much. And then just seeing from the application, 90-10 food ratio. And then is the establishment going to be, or is it ADA compliant?
So we are not changing anything actually. So we do not have, I mean, we don't have a structure. It's a 500 square feet place. It's really small things. So just some cosmetic things. We are changing some light. We filed already for the electric stuff, what we are doing there. So, and we are waiting for the inspections. Will not be anything else.
Okay, thank you. I'm familiar with that space. It is a small space there. Okay, so first I will inquire whether there's any members of the public, questions or comments. Okay, seeing none, I will go to Marco first.
Thank you. I would like to put a motion, and the motion is to approve and then to speak. Is anybody can second that, my motion?
I'm happy to second that.
Thank you. So I found that first of all, in the way that described the owner is very small. The only thing I will strongly recommend to the applicant is, do you have any step to the entrance to the venue? You can create your own ramp, you know, in the event that somebody needs to have access, and that usually is allowed by ADA, by the way. Since you are not touching everything, but at least you make an effort to the venue become a little bit in compliance with the ADA, even though that you don't touch anything inside. So I strongly recommend, this is recommendation for the America of Disability Act. So I don't know if you're willing to do that, but in any event, it is an extremely very small place. This is a coffee place, and I don't mind to recommend the approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. Cause?
Thank you to bringing up that to me. So I will definitely do it. So.
Yeah, my question is going to be the same, and it's going to be for everyone, so be prepared. Is there going to be any sidewalk structure?
No, there will not be any sidewall structure outside. We don't want to go like we don't want to be the real restaurant when the people can go outside and to see to have. We will not have actually the service in the table, but just from the bar. If anybody came, yes, we will go and give them the food or whatever can be, but will not be a real restaurant. Will be a. So I was grew up in Italy. A bottega in Italians means you stop in some small place, you grab something to eat, and you get a glass of wine, and you get a glass of water, and that's all. So it's really easy things from that kind of point of view, let's say.
Yes, but when they come in, they buy the wine or the whatever they're doing, then they go outside. Where do they sit outside?
We have to apply for the city, from the city, if we have to do something like that, because also the building is a landmark building, so we cannot do anything like that without of approval of the city. So we are not going to we cannot just make the tables outside or whatever can be without of approval of the city.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Judy?
Yeah, the former people who had that restaurant did in fact have 2 tables and 4 chairs outside. They also had a gate going to the basement, so that was kind of a little tricky. So if you're planning on putting the tables and chairs back, isn't that supposed to be part of this application? Abraham?
If I understood Angelo, they're not planning to have any outdoor tables. Is that correct, Adriano?
So the thing is, for the moment, it's not in our plan to put any tables or anything, any structure outside. We will make sure also that door, what the lady says, to go in the bottom of the restaurant. We'll get all the structure possible, because we know. So I want to be safety. I want to be safety too from that side. It's in our plan also to come out with something. And about the tables outside, we must put for some people who wants to like to stay outside, but we cannot allow the alcohol, like the people to drink alcohol outside for sure. We might put couple chairs, but probably not to do the service or all the stuff.
But Abraham, isn't that, unless the law has changed, if they're going to have, let's say, 2 tables and 4 chairs outside, no service, isn't that supposed to be part of their application? And Adrian, I'm not talking about a structure. I'm just talking about tables and chairs, no structure. Abraham, isn't that supposed to be part of their application?
Yes, if that's the intention,
Because it sounds like that's what they're going to do. And the prior people had that before. So I can't imagine that would be a problem for landmarks.
Yeah, we do write that one in our application actually. Like they might be a couple of tables, 2 tables, just to make sure, but so everything will be clear. I just want to make sure with the city. That's all.
okay. Just
Okay,
so I'm looking at the
name? Do you have a name for this
Yes.
place?
I will put my name, D'Adriano, to Adrian.
That's going to be the name of the restaurant?
Yes.
Okay, well, lots of good luck to you.
Thank you.
I can't make a motion to approve, so I'm finished.
Okay, thank you, Judy. I'll go to Addison.
Well, I'll call the question on Marco's resolution to approve.
Great, thank you. Mrs. Brown?
Thank you. I needed some clarity with regard to the basement. Is the basement being used or is it just for storage?
So the basement, there we will, since it's a small place, there we'll put all our dry storage, so whatever, like coffee cups, all the stuff, what is gonna be.
So it's just
on-
storage.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. So Addison called the question. Does anyone oppose calling the question? Seeing none, then I will go to the roll. So there's a motion to approve as Marco put forth. And then Ajahn, just to confirm, you did say that you would put the ramp, yes?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will add that to as a stipulation. Thank you. Okay, so motion to approve. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please give me an indicator. Otherwise, you will go down as a yes vote. Okay, seeing none, this is going to go as an approval 9-0. Thank you very much and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here this evening. And then also, I know you you had communicated with Robert about the one missing document. So just send that along once you have that, and we're good to go. So thank you very much.
I will. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for your time. Have a good one. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so with that, I am up to item 1D as in David for Beluga Whale Sushi Inc. DBA Aji Sai Japanese Cuisine. Do I have the representative for 1D?
I see the Wang family is here. I'm sending them a prompt to unmute.
Yes. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, get started. Thank you. Welcome.
Yes. Yeah. This simple application. We want to apply for the full liquor, but we just from your board a few months ago for the beer and wine. Right now, they change demand. They want to apply for the full liquor, so everything keeps same. Yeah.
I see. So everything's the same. So this is upgrade to full liquor from a prior wine beer. I'm just looking hours of operation 11 to 12 Monday to Saturday, 12 to 12 on Sunday, 95/5 food ratio. Remind me, this place is ADA compliant, yes?
Yes. Yeah. ADA compliant. Yes.
And will there be any outdoor structure?
Outdoor structure is on the roadway. 是你现在开门没有开了
The roadway, but not on the sidewalk, correct?
But not on sidewalk. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So first I will go to ask if there's any members of the public on this application. Any members of the public? Once, twice? Okay, seeing none, then I will go to my committee members. I will go to Judy first.
Just curious, do you have cooked Japanese food on besides the raw food on your menu?
你有熟的吗？就有熟餐吧。Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. They do have the cooked food and for the raw sushi. Yes. Yeah. For both.
And do you deliver?
你送餐吗？ Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Next I go to Mrs. Brown.
Yes, thank you. I notice on the application under complaints and violations, that's been left blank.
Okay. So I'm sorry. Maybe I maybe make a mistake. Either no violation there.
I beg your pardon?
Either no violation.
No violations, he's saying.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, then cause.
Yeah, since you asked my question, I'll move to approve.
Great. I see a thumbs up from Marco to that. So Addison.
And I'll call the question.
Great. Okay. Question has been called. If anyone opposes calling the question, let me know. Otherwise, we'll go right into the vote. This is a motion to approve. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, give me an indicator, or this will be a yes across the board. Okay, no one voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining. Great. So this will go as an approval 9-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Okay, so next I'm in the change category. So do I have a representative for item 2A, Cap and Bowl Inc., DBA Home Kitchen, corporate change?
Hi, I'm here.
Hi.
Good evening. Hi. Yeah, thank you all. Basically, the only thing that's changing is my business partner had to step away from the business. So it's just a corporate change with the SLA. No changes with the operations or anything are happening. I'm still here. I have been here since the beginning, and I just, have to work everything out with the SLA. That's all.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I'll inquire if there's any members of the public on this application. Seeing none, I'll go to Judy first.
Move to approve.
Okay. I see a thumbs up, so I'll take that as a second from Marco, and then Cause, I have you.
My usual question, is there any structure on the sidewalk at the moment?
No, there's not. We have in the street.
Okay, I don't care about the street.
No sidewalk, no.
And you will not be building one?
No, we're not.
Thank you. Call the question.
Okay, wonderful. So we have the question has been called. Mrs. Brown, did you have an additional point?
I was going to call the question.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Does anyone oppose calling the question? Okay, and then I will go into the roll. This is a motion to approve corporate change. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause, please give me a sign. Otherwise, this will be a yes. You will go down as a yes vote. And seeing none, this will go as a yes approval 9-0. Thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Likewise. Okay, last but not least, I have item 2B, Meal Plan LLC. This is the Graduate Roosevelt Island Lessee LLC, Highgate Holdings, Panorama Room. So I have a representative.
Hi, good evening, Manhattan Community Board 8, Ben Savitsky of Bernstein, Rado, and Savitsky. This is a corporate change application. We are replacing one of the holding corporations. It's just coming out of the structure. Nothing to do with the liquor license, just corporate restructuring. Everything else is staying the same, same method of operation, no alterations, nothing like that. Additionally, one of our officers with your entity is being replaced with a new officer, but again, no changes to the method of operation. And for anyone who didn't know, this is the Graduate Hotel out on Roosevelt Island.
Great. Thank you so much. First, I will see if there's any members of the public. Okay, seeing none, I will go to Judy.
Move to approve.
Okay, great. I see a second by Addison, and then I will go to Marco.
No, I'm going to call the question if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, Marco's call the question. Does anyone oppose calling the
I
question?
think Mrs. Brown wants to talk to.
Mrs. Brown.
I was just going to call the question, that's all.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so if anyone opposes calling the question, let me know, and I will go right into the roll. So this is a motion to approve. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, let me know. Otherwise, you will be marked down as a yes vote. No, not voting for cause or abstaining. Okay, seeing none. In that case, this will also be an approval. So thank you very much. And that will go to the full board as such. So appreciate you coming this evening. Thank you.
You have a good night.
Okay, great. Okay, we're on to any old or new, but Judy, I see your hands up.
Yeah, I can't remember where I read. I think I read about maybe a cannabis store opening around the 86th Street area. Are we going to be hearing that, or are we supposed to be hearing that before that happens?
I did not hear that, and yes, we are supposed to be hearing.
And I may be wrong about that, but I think I read something that said somewhere in that area they were opening they got a license. Or maybe they just applied for the license. I'm not quite sure that I have all the details.
I know that there, was it the last full board, we had a prospective applicant that came and presented that they were seeking to open an establishment in this neighborhood. As yet, we have not seen or had the application submitted. So to date, that is not what we've not received that yet, but we will be hearing, we will be required to hear those applications.
Does the, I don't even know who it is. Does the licensing bureau for the state know that our community board wants to hear these applications?
The hearing is part of the regulations of the community input. I'm blanking on the actual radiology, but it is
Okay.
it was part of the regulations to have the community input, which would require the trigger us.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Judy. Mrs. Brown.
My concerns were basically regarding the cannabis store, so you've already explained that, clarified that. My other concern is the sheds. I've noticed during my travels that more sheds are going up. So what is the enforcement? Who's going to take them down? How is that working?
Ideally, that should be DOB, but I'll let I'll call on Cause because I know that's one of his big pet peeves. So
DSNY is going around removing abandoned sheds. And I noticed there's a couple in our area that recently have been removed, but at the same time, it was a DOT recommendation of what should have been done, and everybody did the complete opposite. So DOT absolutely did nothing, but for 3 or 4 years, and they're still doing nothing, because I've seen DOT inspectors measure where there's less than 8 feet of clearance 3 years ago, and the place is still there on the sidewalk. So this has become an absolute shamble. I think at the moment everything is still on hold. I mean, I've given up trying to keep up with what's going on because nothing is going on, and even more and more, I keep seeing sidewalk structures, permanent structures on the sidewalk being built, and nothing happens. So I know some DSNY is removing some or so-called abandoned structures on the street, but anything else, I have no idea.
Mr. Chair, would it be appropriate for us to send a letter asking what is the process, what is the deadline, what's to be expected, what's the enforcement?
There is no enforcement.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that, but if we ask them specifically how is it going to be enforced and so forth, maybe if they had to put pen to paper and answer us, maybe they might give it some thought.
Well, that's also DOT, so it would come up under DOT committee, not street life.
We could maybe discuss doing a joint
Yeah.
resolution. So maybe we can talk with them to do a joint resolution I was going to suggest to ask that they increase enforcement and actually seek to remove any illegal structures as they're supposed to.
I would definitely want that removal of illegal. The street they can do it over time, but the sidewalk, it's becoming unbearable and unpassable.
Okay, so why don't I do that? Why don't I reach out to the Transportation Committee and see if we can do a joint reso to that effect?
Yep, great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown. I appreciate that suggestion. Marco?
Going back to the cannabis, there is a place that they are selling right now in our community. I think for more than a month, is located at First Avenue on the east side between 86th and 87th Streets. It's in the middle of the block. And I'm seeing that people congregate outside, they put music, and I think they offer something inside free to attract people. And so far, they didn't have no license for everybody. Recently, they came out for 21 license for Manhattan, but that is a process. But so far, they has been operating that place for a while. Same, I think, in Second Avenue. I don't remember the cross the streets, and clearly say cannabis. So what we had to do is we had to make a note of all these places and call for enforcement because I think this is wrong. That it's legal, but the problem is they start putting the places because the revenues are great, I guess. So we had to do something in that direction.
So Mark, I know I had just chatted to Abraham about this. I know a little bit about the OCM enforcement because since this committee is going to be addressing the cannabis applications, I've been trying to learn more about it. I can put in the chat an OCM, Office of Cannabis Management link. And through my conversations with the Office of Cannabis Management, they've been attempting to address illicit shops. And as Abraham had said in regards to the establishment that wants to open that was at the full board public session for March, I've been communicating with them. They are the only applicant who I've been communicating with. So as of now, I would believe that they were the only ones applying. But I will drop this link into the chat from the OCM, and they can address the incident reporting.
My experience is I reach these people for the street vendors because there are some trucks that they are selling the cannabis, and they are useless people. One and two, they don't answer because they don't enforce. They just put the law, but they don't enforce. The only person that enforce is the sheriff. I was have a conversation the other day with him, and he is willing to help us if we reach some conclusion to go directly for those unlawful or no permitted venues to sell cannabis. So I think I did a long research with this governmental in charge of this business. But my impression is we had to be more vigilant. And another thing is, look, my point is very simple. When I go to the street, everybody's smoking this cannabis, and this is affecting me, and I think it's offensive. So therefore, regardless if it's legal, I'm going to oppose because I'm not going to smell something that I shouldn't. But the bottom line is, at least we had to enforce with those venues that are operating unlawfully. And I think we had to make a list, and we had to send to this Office of Management of Cannabis and see what they do, which I don't expect to do that. What it is very effective is the sheriff of the New York City. So we can talk to him. I have a good relations with him. We can invite him to come right here to our meeting, and we can discuss this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. Mrs. Brown?
Thank you. I was wondering if it was possible for our overworked district manager and staff to create a list of the legal cannabis shops, the licensed cannabis shops in our district so that we can have. And so in our travels, if we see something that is illegal, we can call the police or do what Gail Brewer does, is to have them arrested and do a photo op so that other people can see in the area that we mean business. But I think the list would be important, especially to me, because I use public transportation all the time. And if I see something illegal, it can be addressed and forwarded to the district office. Thank you.
That's an idea, and I think so at present, the answer is none, because we haven't had any actual applications or legal ones. So anything you're seeing thus far is not approved. So the list is 0 at the moment. So right now, anything we see, like Marco's example, is all unlawful, which we should either use the OCM link or take Marco up on his invitation to have the sheriff come and speak to and see if there's another other method that they would suggest to be able to report these places. Cause?
Well, how do we know they're selling cannabis?
I'm assuming
I
from
mean,
Marco's example, the
there's-
implication is based on the smell, but I don't know. I mean, unless someone goes in to try to purchase, I would not know.
Yeah, I mean, there's hundreds of smoke shops around. Are they all selling cannabis? And I see the name cannabis and smoke. You know, the name means nothing. So, I mean, you know, before we start enforcing things, that we've got to be sure what we're enforcing.
Absolutely.
I thought somebody said there was one open around here, first and 70 in the 70s. No, Marco, in the 80s? Okay.
80s, yeah, he's noting his head to the 80s. Okay, thank you.
Maybe I should set my phone to smell the cannabis and walk around with the phone. Is there such an app?
Maybe you're on to a new app, Cause. So get on that. Okay, Mrs. Brown, and then Marco.
I was going to suggest that Cause and I go out as a patrol and go in and ask for something. And that way we can determine whether or not they're selling something. That's all. I just felt we needed a little bit of clarity at this moment, but thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Marco?
Well, what I'm saying, the venue on First Avenue between 86 and 87 on the west side, I asked people that if they are selling, and they told me yes, they are selling that. And this is where, and I know very well this place because always I take the M15 and the bus just stop in front of them. And I'm seeing the public, I'm seeing how they congregate. They try to promote a lot of things. This is 100%. The other I saw on Second Avenue, I will find out the address precisely. They say cannabis, it said outside. The signage said cannabis. So I can give you these two numbers and I can give it to the office, and then we can start from there. If somebody see any other venues, we can keep adding to enforce. And being say that, the only thing I'm going to say, I'm going to put a motion to adjourn, if you don't mind. Thank you.
I expect several thumbs up to second that. Yes, great. Okay. Yeah, okay, great. So does anyone oppose adjourning? If not, then I will say thank you to everyone. I wish everyone a good night and enjoy the spring as the weather has finally turned in our favor. So good to see everyone and have a good evening. Mrs. Brown, did you have one more?
I wanted to wish everybody a happy Passover and Easter and Ramadan.
Yes.
And enjoy.
Very